So you want to get things done, implement new ideas, expand your department, develop a product, launch a campaign, hire a new resource, or get new equipment or system. Here are 6 steps you need to take to get your business case approved before you even write it. Number 1, understand the decision drivers. Approval is the only thing standing in your way, but you're competing with other departments and other managers for the same resources. So your business case had better be strong, or you will come up short. Whenever you're pitching a business case that somebody else needs to approve, you should know who does the approving and what they base their approval decisions on. If the decision is made by an individual, it's easier to establish their specific requirements for approval. If it's a committee or a team making the decision, you'll have to find a common ground and balance the differences between each of these individual decision makers and their drivers. So in the case of the CFO, for instance, their decision drivers will be largely financial. There'll be some risk analysis thrown in, but how do they make their financial decisions? What calculations do they do? And what analysis do they do in order to determine the financial viability of initiative? So for a VP operations, for instance, their decision drivers might include financial, but also resources, risks, and impact on their other responsibilities and activities they're responsible for. Your head of human resources will also have different decision drivers, such as the impact on existing staff, availability of resources, which includes timing, salary bands, and those kinds of things, and who might be impacted. So the other departments, such as IT, security, risk management, logistics, and all of those would have other drivers that are specific issues and drivers that you should understand and address in your business case. So number 2, you need to build credibility. It's not just enough to have a great business case. You have to be credible. The need for credibility includes not only your track record of performance and deliverables, but the credibility of the information and analysis you do to justify your business case. So your business case needs to include not only rationale for why the initiative should be approved, it should include how it will be implemented successfully. So you can highlight your track record and provide a concise and believable approach to implementation that helps assure the decision makers that you will succeed. So for business case credibility, do a thorough job of analysis, comparisons, market research, and show both the source and approach you've taken. So don't whitewash assumptions or issues you know exist. Instead, bring them forward and clearly identify how you will mitigate them. It's better to address them rather than leave questions in the minds of senior management, who you hope will approve your business case. Number 3, break down the objections. Before you even submit your business case, you should be testing it on the decision makers. Sit down with them individually and go over the key rationale, findings, and the proposed initiative. Ask them to share their criticisms and their concerns so you can address them. And depending on your relationship with these individuals, you could even ask them to provide insight into their colleagues' likely reaction. Then take their input into consideration. Incorporate it, where possible, into your business case, and then follow up with those individuals before you submit it or present it to ensure that changes you made address their concerns and let them know you've listened to them. Finally, simply ask them the question, will they support the business case when it's presented? If so, you've clearly dealt with their objections and gained a supporter. If not, you'll know that you can either make changes and gain their support, or you will have to overcome their objections some other way, perhaps through the support of other decision makers. 4 is influence the influencers. So sometimes you're not able to get the attention of the actual decision makers. If not, then you need to identify who influences those decision makers. Sometimes it's an individual who reports directly, and of course, even if you're able to deal with the actual decision makers, it never hurts to gain support from those who advise the decision makers. For instance, if your CFO relies on a specific individual to do cost-benefit analysis, meet with that individual. Get their take on your business case. Get their insights, make changes in your analysis, or perhaps even the way you present based on their input, and then try to get their support. Number 5, orchestrate the pitch. Don't leave your business case submission to chance. You should try to orchestrate how it's represented and how it's presented to the decision makers. If possible, make a presentation to those decision makers before they have a chance to read the business case, so you can prepare them with the key facts and demonstrate that you conferred with everybody, address their issues, and have broad support. If you have discussions with the influencers, as mentioned above, speak with them again individually to remind them of their participation in helping to develop the final document, and ask them if they can voice their support to the decision makers. So after the presentation, follow up with them one-on-one to gauge the reaction and support in this last and final step of approving the business case. If you sense a change in their support or additional concerns, take immediate action, address them, make revisions, and then communicate that to the decision makers. So last but not least, make the decision case a non-event. Getting your business case approved is about much more than simply developing a solid business case document and submitting it for approval. If you follow the steps I've talked about already, by the time your business case gets to the point where an approval signature is required, you'll have already paved the way for that signature.